Okay. The modern big band without flugelhorns would be not really imaginable. The flugelhorn has established itself as a very important sound and timbre in modern big band music. A lot of modern big band writers write for it quite exclusively. I'm one of those modern big band writers. I love flugelhorn. It's a beautiful sound. And so talking to you guys, a trumpet section, what are some things to think about when you're switching between the trumpet and the flugelhorn? I mean, maybe what are some important points?
I think it's good to have the same rim on the mouthpiece because that helps a lot.
Okay, so that you're not changing, that there's not a feeling. Okay, right. And what are some other things to think about?
Maybe the pressure you put on the flugelhorn can't be so big than in trumpet. You kind of have to play with more relaxed manner. At least I think so.
But does that just have to do with pressure, or is it also, do you guys change, for example, your airstream or your airflow, your concept behind that when you're playing flugelhorn?
Yeah, I think so. You have to have a gentler touch to play on the flugelhorn.
Exactly. I mean, I see it a little bit as difference as somebody who's, I played for very many years bass trombone and tuba. That was one of the big differences. Bass trombone had a very direct airflow, and of course, for tuba playing, it had to be a warmer airflow, but that sort of thing. So I guess it's probably the same when we're talking about flugelhorn. Do you make a conscious change of your attitude in regards to sound when you play flugelhorn as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a totally different instrument, so have to, think about it a different way. And
but for example, when you think of an ideal, your ideal flugelhorn sound, what are some of the words that you use to describe that sound?
Round, airy, dark, tender.
Okay, yeah, great. No, but those are great adjectives, and I think this is also something sometimes for young players to come up with some descriptive terms in your, to help visualize a sound. I think this is very important. So thinking about flugelhorn is going to be dark, it's going to be warm. That's really going to, I think that's really going to help. Mikko, anything else about flugelhorn?
Other descriptions about the sound, or what do you mean?
Or any other, like for example, things to think about when you're switching between the trumpet and the flugelhorn. I mean, do you, or do you just, you don't think so much, or do you, how about this? When you're going back to trumpet, do you have to think at all about changing your sound back to a trumpet sound, or is it just sort of an automatic change?
I think nowadays it's quite automatic. But I mean, when I grab the horn, I think I immediately get the feel of that instrument.
Okay,
it
right.
became that natural, but
But can you
click.
Can you remember to years ago when you first started to play the flugelhorn? Did you have to make an effort, of course, to sort of switch back and forth? Was it more?
Yeah, it was harder. And first, I remember when I got my first flugelhorn, I think it was quite small, but the sound was almost the same as my trumpet sound, and I noticed it, and I asked some professional players, what should I do to get the sound more like flugelhorn sound? So I had to think about that a lot.
Okay, right. And did you practice a lot of flugelhorn by itself, or did you always sort of switch back and forth? I mean, was there a period in your life when maybe you would only play flugelhorn one day long?
I think mostly when I hated my trumpet sound, because I wanted my trumpet to sound more dark and more tender, so then I switched flugelhorn and to feel better about myself.
Okay,
But I've never really practiced a lot with the flugelhorn only. I always do all the technical training and everything with trumpet. I only switch to flugelhorn every now and then.
Okay, right.
Sometimes, if you don't need flugelhorn on following gigs with UMO or other bands, sometimes I forget the whole instrument for like 2 weeks, and my flugelhorn is there, and had to check out the valves and stuff like that. But
Okay, thank you. That's not what maybe we're trying to teach the young people. But
No,
in any
no,
case,
no.
but this is the reality of the situation. Tero, what do you would you have any tips about flugelhorn playing?
I think the most important thing is to leave your alpha male behind when you are switching. So you are a little bit like a tender, soft, mellow man when you are playing flugelhorn, and always be prepared somehow when you know that in your part there's going to be a switch to flugelhorn. So either I usually keep the mouthpiece on my
Right
trousers
in your pocket to keep it warm.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
right.
because the change can be really, it can surprise you if you don't do that. So
Okay, but I saw you guys doing it before. So also, if you see that you have flugelhorn coming up later in the piece, blowing some warm air through the instrument, right, to warm it up, so that the instrument is warm before you start playing, right?
yeah, exactly.
and the condensated water.
Exactly,
rid of
and of
that.
course,
Yes,
making
yes,
sure the water's out
Yeah.
and things like that. So once again, I guess this is also something we haven't talked about, but having awareness of what's going to happen in the whole piece that you're playing. So looking through the music before the piece starts. There's flugelhorn on page 3. And preparing your instrument for that sort of thing. So this is also maybe another thing to think about in general rehearsal and concert preparation. Always sort of being aware, and not just flugelhorn, but probably mutes. Are there mutes in this piece? Do I need my Harman? Is it a fast change to mutes? Things like that. So this is also something to think about in rehearsals and in concerts. Sorry, Tero, did you have something else? Okay.
I'm fine.
Or TIMO, did you have something else to say about flugelhorn?
Not really.
Okay. I'm gonna pull something out of you because you said it before when we were having a talk before, and this is something you said which I thought was very important. Also, having a clear sound concept of your trumpet sound and your flugelhorn sound. So just having this concept. Where did you get your flugelhorn sound concept? Who were some of the flugelhorn players that inspired you?
I think mostly from commercial studio players. That's for me, Jerry Hay and those kind of.
Right. You also mentioned someone before, Chuck Mangione, right?
Yeah.
Who was, also very, very, very important and very influential player. And actually one of the first people who was a specialist on flugelhorn. So also very, very inspiring for very many people.
But I think Chuck played with a trumpet mouthpiece, if I'm not.
Okay. See, now you're getting into some nice trumpet nerd stuff. Thank you. I feel honored to be a part of this. And I can't wait, just as a little precursor to the other educational videos, I cannot wait until I get the saxophone section here, when I'm going to be finding out a lot about mouthpieces and reeds. But anyway, so flugelhorn. So once again, spending some time on the instrument, learning the idiosyncrasies of the flugelhorn as well, intonation-wise, how it speaks, and of course, really making a difference between the sound of the trumpet and the sound of the flugelhorn. Not letting the flugelhorn also get too brassy. That was one of the things that Bob Brookmeyer would talk about a lot. He, when he wrote for flugelhorns, he did not want them to sound like a brass instrument. He wanted it to be very warm and dark, and I love that sort of flugelhorn sound, which you guys do get. So thank you, very much for that. And this is another thing coming down to section playing in general also, talking about maybe being a bit more gentle on the flugelhorn, but also on the trumpet. And once again, thinking about having music as our main goal. And section playing, seeing it as a team and as a group activity. So being there to support each other and being there to create music. I think these are maybe the two most important ideas I've gotten from you gentlemen today during these videos. And the third most important thing is, from what I've heard, is also this listening, the concept and the idea of active listening, not just learning about different styles and aspects of big band section playing, but also within the section. And here we have a perfect example. 4 players who support each other, 4 players who put the music first, 4 players who listen constantly to each other. And this is what we get. We get a great section. So I think what I'd like to do, I'd like to enjoy one more excerpt from you guys, because this has really been very enjoyable for me. And this is an excerpt from Bob Mintzer's wonderful arrangement of I Hear a Rhapsody. And this is the UMO Helsinki Jazz Orchestra trumpet section.